Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, as always, and I hope that you guys are enjoying my videos, my channel, my podcast, wherever you guys are listening to me from. I really appreciate all of your support, and I hope that you guys keep on enjoying the content that I put out there. In this video specifically, I wanted to go on or continue on with that series that I've been doing called Dating an INFJ. Because so many non-INFJs messaged me saying that, I'm dating an INFJ and I just don't know what to do. And so I started doing these series, a bunch of videos I've done already on how to date an INFJ or how to be with an INFJ when we're absolutely freaking complicated. In this specific video, I wanted to speak to you guys about how to communicate best with an INFJ. If you are with an INFJ, you probably get this already, but if you are an extrovert in any way, or if you're not an INFJ, then perhaps you might not understand. But the best way to communicate with an INFJ is through writing. It's so simple when you think about it, really, because we love to write. We love to communicate as an INFJ with our writing, because when we speak, our words tumble upside down. Now, I've been doing these videos for a long time, and so I'm kind of comfortable getting my thoughts and opinions out there in a pretty coherent manner. Sometimes I do stumble as well, of course. But when I did not have this practice, I've done hundreds of videos probably already. And so because of this practice, I know how to communicate in this vocal manner. But before I started doing these videos, I had no idea how to talk to someone about the ideas that were in my head. I could not articulate them out loud. They would be in my head. They would be really, really articulate once they were in my head. I'd be like thinking, oh, I'm going to say this and I'm going to say that and it's going to be perfect. It's going to be awesome. And then, the planning stage works out really well. But then when you actually want to say the words and you want to communicate your idea or opinion to the people around you, all of a sudden you fall flat and you have no idea what you're talking about and just gibberish comes out. The same thing happens in the relationship quite often, actually. And that's one of the reasons I really hated in the past being in a relationship, because I had no idea how to communicate to this person what my feelings or emotions on the subject matter were. Now, sometimes it was fine, it was just nonsensical topics like, do you like Star Wars or Star Trek, so that's something that I can really converse on easily. But if you're trying to talk to someone about your emotions or your feelings, or you're trying to tell someone how much they mean to you, or you're trying to tell them, that you would be upset if they left you, or you like this about them or that, something about them something that's really, really important to you, then all of a sudden my tongue wouldn't agree with my brain and I would not be able to communicate what I wanted to tell them, right? As I've said, I've kind of learned over time to be articulate and to be fluent in my tongue. I can actually, articulately, obviously not that well, but I can communicate as much as possible using the vocal or the vocal language rather than the written language. Vocal language, I don't think that makes sense. But anyways, the reason I'm doing this video is because if you are dating an INFJ and if you have been dating them for a while or a little bit of time or a long time, perhaps you have noticed this, that the INFJ will prefer to text you rather than to talk on the phone. Unfortunately, a lot of extroverts love talking on the phone, and I always end up dating extroverts. All of my exes were ENTPs or ENFPs, interestingly enough. And so all of the people that I would date, they would love to talk on the phone. They would call me, and I think to myself, why is this guy calling me? He'd call me, and we would just sit there on the phone for hours on end. And I just think to myself, but what are we doing here? Why are you calling me? Why can't we just text each other, right? And so little by little, I would train my exes, or my boyfriends then, and I would tell them to text me, just text me. Either do messenger message, or message on the messenger, or a WhatsApp message, or just message me in writing. Do not call me. Do not try to speak to me in that manner, right? I just don't like it, because they will be really articulate when they're talking on the phone, right? They'll be able to say what they want, and they're talking to me, and everything's perfect. And when I try to reply back to that person, it's just nonsense that comes out of my mouth. And so I just feel really, really, really annoyed by the whole situation, because I am not able to tell them what I feel, whereas they are able to tell me exactly how they feel. I feel like the power balance is completely off in that manner. Now, of course, not everyone likes to communicate through writing, especially not text. People don't like writing like long letters to each other. Whereas, in fact, for me, a lot of times whenever I wanted to tell my boyfriend something that was really important to me, like, I really liked something that they did for me, or I really appreciated something that they did for me, and I really want to communicate that to them, I would actually write them a long email. It was really, really interesting to me specifically, because they would read my emails and think to themselves, they'd message me saying, oh my God, I saw your email, it's really, really long. Is everything all right? Are you all right? Is our relationship all right? Are you upset about something? And I'd always think to myself, no, I wanted to tell you something, and I thought it would the best way for me to write my thoughts out was through an email format. Now, of course, they would get used to it, because I'd send at least 10 or 15 of these long emails over, have sent 10 or 15 of these long emails over my relationships, probably more than that actually. And so I love communicating in writing. Now, if you are dating an INFJ, and if you do like to talk on the phone, I would recommend that you keep that to as much of a minimum as possible. I'm not saying don't communicate with them. We prefer, if not writing, obviously, we prefer face-to-face communication, over on the phone. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you're in a long-distance relationship, or sometimes you're far away from each other, traveling, or you just don't live with each other, and so you have to talk on the phone, because it's so nice to hear someone's voice, the person that you love, and their voice and everything. It's just so nice to hear that. But if you're going to do that, then better obviously do a Skype call, or somewhere where you can actually even see their face. Because if I'm going to talk on the phone, I'd rather prefer to see their face than not. But my ultimate priority, my ultimate in communication is always going to be writing. And this is the case with every INFJ out there. We have this thing about our writing. We have been developing and honing our skill with writing for all of our lives. We've known since when we were really little, that we're not good at communicating by words. We've tried, and no one would understand us. But when we wrote the words out, everyone understood us really well. And so from when we were really young, we kind of got this feeling that we need to start communicating with our writing. And we're better at writing our thoughts out than speaking them out loud, right? And this is the same thing in any situations. If I'm in a group situation, if I'm with strangers, if I'm doing a presentation, if I'm anything, at work, at home, all of these situations, even with my mother, when I have certain fights with my mother, mother-daughter relationship, I always try to message her after my thoughts that I have on the subject matter, because I know that in the moment, and obviously we can have these conversations, but I will never be able to tell her exactly how I feel unless I actually sit down on my computer or wherever it might be and type out all the different feelings that I have about the situation, right? So I always try as much as possible to write out my feelings with every situation in the world, right? Now, as I've said, I'm trying as much as possible to become more articulate with my words right now, but not all INFJs are going to be like that. And so most INFJs actually are going to be much better at communicating by writing. If you are dating an INFJ and you find that this is happening a lot and you're uncomfortable with it, then I'd actually really recommend that you start getting comfortable with it. Because if you want your INFJ to be able to communicate with you comfortably, but also in a manner that they can actually express themselves and feel good about it, then it has to be in writing format. It really, truly has to be. We don't actually feel comfortable in any other way. Most of my relationships are on text. Literally, either we spend time face to face, but because we're all busy people, most of my conversations with all my exes took place over Messenger. It was just the way it was, and then WhatsApp obviously after that. So it was just how I communicate. Even now, all of my friends, I communicate with them through text. There is no other way for me to do it. My parents, I communicate with text. I don't call them. I don't do all that stuff. I just don't like it. I will text you. I'll text you a billion more times than I will call. And I know my mother likes to talk on the phone, specifically because she wants to see my face, see if I've lost weight or if I have dark circles in my eyes or things like that. And so the only person I actually do Skype calls with is my mother, because she wants to see my face, make sure I'm not dying. Because she worries as a mother, right? So this is my advice to you guys. If you are dating an INFJ, if you're a non-INFJ. Now, if you're an introvert, then it works out perfectly, because you probably like communicating by writing as well. And so you guys can go back and forth in writing, and that would be the best way to express your feelings to each other. And an INFJ is going to love it if you just text them about something rather than call them. But if you're not an introvert and you're an extroverted person dating an INFJ, then perhaps you're more comfortable talking on the phone. I would recommend that you keep the phone calls to a minimum and message them as much as possible, or spend time face to face. We love quality time. We love face to face time, you know, conversations and one-on-one time. We like that so much more than a freaking conversation on the phone. I hate phone calls. I hate phones in general. The only reason I use my phone is for Instagram and YouTube. So yeah, don't call me. Just text me. Text. Okay? Again, I hope this helps if you are dating an INFJ, and if you have specific questions about dating us, and if you're absolutely perplexed about dating your INFJ, then message me. I'm not an expert, obviously, but I can try and help you guys out a little bit. Maybe offer my opinions or my suggestions on how to move forward with your INFJ. Again, if you have any other questions, message me as well. All my contact information is in the description below, and I shall see you guys next time around. Bye for now.